Good day, everyone, especially to you, ma'am. I am Rachel Auntie Belandres, together with my co-reporter.
I am Lizelle in Pandeling.
And today, we're going to discuss about our topic,
Republic Act 9344,
Juvenile Justice and Welfare Act. Republic Act 9344, Juvenile Justice and Welfare Act, an act establishing a comprehensive juvenile justice and welfare system, creating the Juvenile Justice and Welfare Council under the Department of Justice, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. So in Section 5, Rights of the Child in Conflict with the Law, every child in a conflict with the law shall have the following rights, including but not limited to. So, Republic Act 9344 was created to establish a fair juvenile justice system in the Philippines. Section 5 explains that the right of the children in conflict with the law that ensures that they are treated fairly, humanly, and with respect for their dignity. So, number 1 is the right not to be subjected to torture or other cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment or punishment. So, it explains that every child has the right to be protected from torture, cruel, and punishment, and any form of inhumane or degrading treatment while under the law. So, ang mga tanan bata is naagid sila karapatan nga maprotektahan bitaw kanang mga dili makatarungan nga binuhatan or kanang bitaw gina-torture, gina-punishment, and also sa mga cruelty nga butang. So in second one is the right to be imposed a sentence or capital punishment or life imprisonment without the possibility of release. So a child cannot be sentenced to death penalty or life imprisonment because the law recognizes the importance of giving children a chance to change or rebuild their lives. So, ang mga bata is dili sila ginahatagan og kanang death penalty or life imprisonment tugod kay ang kaninga law is nag-recognize siya nga dapat tagaan pag-chance ang mga bata para magbago or makadesisyon para sa ilang better future. So, the third one is the right not to be deprived unlawfully and arbitrarily of his or her liberty. So detention or imprisonment being a disposition of last resort and which shall be for the shortest appropriate period of time. So it explains that child should not be deprived of liberty unfairly or unlawfully. So detention or imprisonment must only be used as a last resort and for the shortest possible period of time. So in letter D, so the right to be treated with humanity and respect and for the inherent dignity of the person and in a manner which take into account that he needs of a person of his or her age. So it explains that children in conflict with the law must always be treated with humanity, dignity, and respect while considering their age, condition, and personal needs. In letter A, the right to prompt access to legal and other appropriate assistance, as well as the right to challenge the legality of the deprivation of his or her liberty before a court or other competent, so independent and impartial authority and to prompt decision on such action. So it explains that every child has the right to receive a legal assistance and to question the legality of their detention before a fair and independent court. So letter F is the right to bail and recognizance in appropriate cases. So it explains that in appropriate cases, children may be granted bail or to allow temporarily freedom while their case is being resolved. So that is all for my part and I will give the rest of the time to Miss Pandeling.
Letter G, the right to testify as a witness in his or her own behalf under the rule on examination of a child witness. So every child has the right to testify and express their side as a witness in accordance with the rules that protect child witnesses. So letter H, the right to have his or her privacy respected fully at all stages of the proceedings. So the privacy of children involved in legal proceeding must be fully protected to avoid discriminations, embarrassment, and harm to their future. Letter I, the right to diversion if he or she is qualified and voluntarily avails of the same. So If qualified, the child can join a diversion program instead of going through full court punishment. Diversion means counseling, community service, or rehabilitation to help the child change. So letter G, the right to be imposed a judgment in proportion to the gravity of the offense where his or her best interest, the rights of the victim, and the needs of society are all taken into consideration by the court under the principle of a restorative justice. So, the punishment must match how serious the offense is while also considering the child welfare, the victim's right, and the good of society. Letter K. The right to have restriction on his or her personal liberty limited to the minimum and where discretion is given by the law to the judge to determine whether to impose fine or imprisonment. The imposition of fine being preferred as the more appropriate penalty. So the child should have as much freedom as possible. And if the judge can choose between paying a fine or going to jail, a fine is prepared. Letter L. In general, the right to automatic suspension of sentence. So the child usually has the right to a suspended sentence, meaning they may not immediately serve punishment while being given a chance to improve. Letter M. The right to probation as an alternative to imprisonment if qualified under the probation law. So if qualified, the child may be given probation instead of imprisonment. Probation means staying in the community under supervision instead of going to jail. Letter N. The right to be free from liability for perjury, concealment, or misrepresentation. So, the child cannot be punished for giving wrong statements while trying to defend themselves in the case. So, last letter, which is the O, other right as provided for under existing laws, rules, and regulation. So, every child also has other rights given by existing laws and rules. And that would be all for our topic. Thank you for listening.